There are many ways to make your way through the Star Citizen universe, but at the center of nearly all of them is what's referred to as the vehicle experience. More than just the cool looks of a sleek exterior, the amount of cargo you can carry, or the ordnance you can bring down upon your adversaries, the vehicle experience is perhaps best defined as the way in which you interact with the cockpit around you. From what you can see and when formalized at the start of 2020 with the creation of our new vehicle experience team, a small strike unit dedicated exclusively to the adventure of piloting your spaceships. And we sat down with some of these members to discuss not only what brought them to the team, but what they're currently working on, what they've already accomplished, and what lies ahead for their future.
Okay, so this is a perfect example of Jared Huckabee actually delivering empathetically warm, professional, well-scripted, well-versed, well-delivered, lovely tone, lovely extension of his voice across the microphone, and being a professional person. So Jared Huckabee has the potential of being a consistent professional, but chooses not to be. Anyway, I'll pass on to ILW for his take on the matter.
So I was the one that originally pointed that out. So, as you're watching, I was like, hey, pause it. Tell me he didn't do a good job. And, I was cheesing and smiling it up because the last video, people were commenting, don't go back to name calling, stop shitting on Jared Huckabee and all this. But it actually shows that Jared Huckabee, he's growing. He gets better, and I always mispronounce his name, but he's growing. He gets better and better as time goes on. And I think the main issue that CTT has with him is he's been very rude to fans in the past, and it's cut them off and very rude in the way they speak. And nobody's perfect. This isn't me just defending him being rude. Nobody's perfect, but even if you look in the bag videos, they're not well presented as this is an intro. So he may be getting better and better and better, a better person, less rude, and just better in general as time goes on. So CTT, will you just open your mind and say, hey, Disco Lando, he actually might be very good for the project, and Star Citizen might be happy to have him if he continues in his direction. Will you take that position?
If he does every single video moving forward like that, time and again, none of these interviews with him and Sean, or him and Tony, or him and anybody, or even him himself delivering a video skit part, whatever it is, and be rude and disrespectful and saying, this is Star Citizen, this is how the way things are, and this is what you've just got to put up with. He said that before, directly, in a video that very much the same kind of background too, where he's on the set of, I think it was Squadron 42 set, I think, in the background. But there's many instances of him being very totalitarian towards the community and saying, well, suck it up, princess, this is what's going on, and you have no say, and that's it. No discussions, deal with it. And that kind of attitude is disgusting. It's not professional. It's not what you'd hear from business. It's not what you'd hear from a professional person in business. And from someone who's spent 10.5 years dealing with absolute mental health patients in the corporate world, I can tell you right now, even they are eloquently delivered and very well spoken, exceptionally well spoken in some cases, because obviously they want to have their agenda met. So I just, if Jared can step it up to be a pure, true professional business person and an excellent presenter, yes, I will give him props as time goes by. The second he drops the ball on that and does one of these very over-relaxed and bobblehead kind of experiences again, I'll be down his throat like razor blades. Just a heads up. Because, if we don't complain, as we've said before, we do not complain, these things do not improve. And this is the purpose of me being the skeptic and ILW being the pro, the all for, because we want to give you perspective that though at some times you have to complain to get results. You go to a takeaway store and you don't get your chips in your bag of food, well, you're going to go back and complain, aren't you? You paid for them. You pay for what you get, and we're not getting what we paid for. Anyway, let's move forward.
It was back in kind of July. I was working on building the ships with the system design team. We were starting to look at the ships overall and look at the experience that players felt with the ships, and we just felt it wasn't coming together as well as we wanted it to. And I'm very passionate about vehicles in general, so I was asked if we wanted to kind of form a team to improve the vehicle experience. We started with myself working on the drone crew. We picked people that are already kind of responsible for some of these aspects of the game, or people that had worked on vehicles, but also people that wanted to do this as well. So we ended up picking Johnny Young. We also took on Robert Johnson as well as the lead programmer, so it made sense to have a kind of stronger lead for the influence of the team. We looked at kind of planning ahead.
Hold on. Did you hear that? A stronger lead and influence for the team? And he was older. Maybe early 30s, but still older. Maybe some hope left yet in CIG's ranks.
So we brought in Lucy to the team. And Lucy's been critical to not only the day-to-day organisation of the team, but also the future planning of the team. So we started to work on the third-person camera first. And then we looked at, well, if we're going to do the third-person camera, let's do the first-person camera as well. So we looked at bringing someone in who's really good with a first-person experience and who's really passionate about that. So towards the end of last year, we brought in Yogi.
I joined CIG in summer 2017 as a senior audio programmer. Though over the course of the last year, especially during the middle, I started investigating a little bit more into head tracking.
And this is the really cool part coming up, right? ILW, before we hit head tracking, because I am so pro for it, and how they're going to be implementing head tracking and all of this stuff they're about to talk about, which I think is freaking phenomenal. Did you want to just quickly jump in and have your two, Bob?
No, I don't think I have anything to say up till now. The one thing I'm curious about, and this is a very petty thing to be curious about, but when they opened the video and there was the big huge thing floating, what is it? Is it a saber? Is that what it is? You know what? I'm not even going to speak on it. Just continue on. Continue on.
That's a raven. But, okay, let's continue. I thought that was cool though, man. I want that. I want that toy hanging in my studio. That would be wicked.
Also, I'm currently a glider pilot in training, so there's a lot of little things which I feel I could bring into the vehicle experience to make it just nicer, more immersive and more exciting. So I asked my lead if I could invest some time to improve it.
So I'm one of the programmers on the team. Before joining Vehicle Experience Team, I was part of Vehicle Feature Team, and this is sort of an offshoot of Vehicle Feature Team in that this is more based on improving the experience of your flight as it is, and that is to effectively implement decisions that Rich makes and other designers make.
So all these things coming together from people who are really invested in this and have this focus on this one part of the game just feels amazing. You can get a lot of stuff done.
So as a team, we started working, just kind of looking at the game and going, actually, what can we improve within the game now? But then we started to think, actually, we can improve some really core aspects of the game, but we need some time to do that.
I played flight simulations pretty much since I was a child, and one of the most important things you can do in flight simulations is to look around in your cockpit, right? It gives you a really good feeling of getting immersed into that thing. And the natural contact point with that is head tracking.
So we had two options. We've got the option where you kind of look where you're turning, or you look where the ship's traveling, and there's two different things. So we developed the first-person camera to support those features and also give the players the freedom to tune the camera either way of how they wanted it to feel.
So all these things lead to improving what we call the look-ahead mode now. What pilots actually do is just like car drivers, right? When they turn, they don't look straight ahead. They look into the turn, or they lean into the turn. Also, as a pilot, you fly, right? And then you bank or you roll into your turn. What you actually do is you make tiny adjustments with your head, right? Because as humans, we want to have our head aligned with the ground. And so this is something that pilots do really often. They go into the turn, but they leave their head straight. A thing we did most recently was to rework how aiming works in ships, because we took a look at the control schemes that we have in the game. We can control the game with mouse, with a gamepad, or with a HOTAS, but at the same time we have a lot of different key bindings. We have looking around, aiming, controlling the ship. So there's a lot for players to learn, and it's a lot to unpack as well. And on this note, we actually noticed that we actually don't need all of it. So a big thing that happens is what we internally call the aiming unification.
Okay, guys, so yeah, I've tried head tracking out. I use NoTrack IR, and it works flawlessly with Star Citizen. It works so good that you've just got to turn your head like this, or like this, or like this, or like this. But your eyes, what you're seeing, is actually, they're actually following with your dash, or they're going up through the roof of your cockpit. It is that good, and it works seamlessly. Just get a good camera, guys, and good lighting. That's the key. You can have the cheap, you actually have quite a cheap camera. If you've got good lighting, then you won't have any problems with your eye tracking. Unless you get Tobii Eye, like he has the extension on his headset. Has Tobii Eye tracking, and that's Tobii Tracking IR, I think it's called. Then you've got Tobii Track built into your monitors, but Tobii Eye doesn't work too good with monitors, I've been told, because I was going to buy an Assist monitor with Tobii Eye, and they said don't bother with it for Star Citizen. Get Track No IR. I think it's about £10 UK, so it's about what, $14 US, and it's about $25 Australian. It is a amazing investment, and something which is so easy to set up. And guys, if you are really serious about getting your head tracking set up in your Star Citizen cockpit, please tell us in the comments. I will happily take you through a complete video of how to set that all up, and some other tech stuff as well, because ILW, what we've done here, okay, it doesn't look like much to you guys as the viewers, but what we've been able to achieve and put together over the last week has been a technical nightmare. Now, getting two people on the screen, you know, you see it all the time, you think it's very easy. It's not, especially when you're using Skype NDI, and that's something that if you guys are really interested in, I can do a full complete video of what Skype NDI is and how to set it up in OBS and have it work correctly without any issues with audio and obviously latency issues as well. It's quite complicated and quite a stuff around, and all the NDI videos up on the internet at the moment are useless for this. So we together have had to learn the hard way and find out better ways of doing it than whatever video is up that tells you it's that easy, because it's not. It's quite a complicated process and setup, and something that, you know, this is the end result for that. So anyway, moving forward.
So I really enjoy the changes. One thing I'm concerned about is when you see the computers and when you see the build on CIG monitors, most of the times it's the future build is what's coming up that isn't really released yet. And just looking at the screen, one thing I'm concerned of, and it was right before you stopped, it was the planet continues to drown out the blips. They continue to drown out everything. Like when you're looking at that, you know that on that screen there's a targeting blip somewhere over there. You know, I can maybe faintly see an enemy blip, but they have to do a better job of putting a drop shadow or putting something on the blips so they're just not completely drowned out against the planet as it is now. If you go back like 5 seconds in this video, you'll see that it's drowned out, and they do some really good stuff, such as Up and Coming. They give a lot of visual feedback of, like, you'll see like this big huge crosshair, and that's really great because not everybody who plays this game is in their 20s. A lot of people that play are in their 50s and in their 60s, and they're not going to be able to see. You know, if I with 20/20 vision can't look at that screen and see the targeting blip, I know someone who's older and who doesn't have perfect vision. A lot of people wear glasses. I think most people, you know, a lot of people that play wear glasses. Come on, man. You got to do a better job at putting drop shadows on the blips. And it's very concerning that in the footage that was just shown, it's not there. And these are the vehicle experience team. But go ahead.
Yeah, and that's something that I've already agreed on in past with ILW on, is they need to put some kind of blocker or some kind of blur out, some kind of screening behind the pip and the actual target you're focusing on when you're coming up on obviously heavily clouded areas or very bright areas like in Broken Moon. We need to obviously be able to see what we're going for, because otherwise people, once they work that out and work where you are out, they're just going to fly towards clouds every time and fly across the surface, so you'll lose your target and they'll go ha ha and get away, even in an Aurora in some cases, right? So just keep that in mind, guys. There's something that maybe the issue council can bring forward in future. All right, so I'll let ILW finish his 2 cents and we'll move forward.
So what he just said, maybe it's intentional. So they said we're going to base a Star Citizen on World War II dogfighting. They said it's going to be very World War II dogfighting-ish, and it's going to take a heavy inspiration from it. Maybe that's the reason it does it. Maybe because, in World War II, a common tactic was to put, as a enemy pilot, to put your back to the sun. So a pilot engaging you had to try to shoot you with your back to the sun, and they would come in from the sun. Maybe it's an intentional design decision. But even if it is, they definitely need to do something else, because that's not a design decision we want in the game. Please change it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd have to disagree there. It's incompetence, not design. Sorry, mate, but yeah. Okay, let's move forward before we, upset some people in the audience.
Just a couple of things that we're improving. They're not big things, but they're things that make the game just feel nicer.
I think success for Vehicle Experience Team this year will be 1 or 2 features that currently exist in the game polished up to a good standard and into a good place in the game.
Right, this guy's got a beautiful HOTAS. Beautiful HOTAS. The thing is, watch how little he moves his joystick.
One of the big pillars for the Vehicle Experience Team is space combat.
Okay, so I just want to point that out. I have 2 16,000Ms. If you've never watched my channel before, I have serviced them at least twice each. I think the green one, the older one, 3 times already. These sticks have been hell and back. I've had to pull the FCS model apart for the joystick handle itself and actually reset the sensor and put it back together. And that's a nightmare, by the way, guys. If you're not comfortable with working on really, really painful plastic things, don't do it. You will break your joystick permanently. But it's fixed, it's working, it's fine. But the thing is, I've thrashed the living hell out of these sticks. Now, he's got a 16,000M FCS on the right hand side of the screen there. So, hello, they're using them as well, and they are by far the best value for money proposition for Star Citizen. You don't need a Warthog, you don't need Verpals. I know ILW's probably in the background there screaming his brains out right now because he's got a Warthog. But for someone who's a dual stick flyer like myself, the 16,000 amps, there's just nothing that comes close to it for the price, for the quality. You're getting the Warthog sensors in the cheap package as well, plus all the extra buttons, without any of the other issues that you'd need for a fighter jet, for example, or even a C-130 flying in a simulator game like IL-2 or Microsoft Flight Simulator, if you're going to go down that pathway. And look, at the end of the day, the way he was moving that Warthog, right, those little tiny increments, this is very, very, very obvious of the new flight model becoming very, very, very focused on mouse and keyboard play. Maybe control pad, play, but joysticks are really getting phased out here at this stage. I've noticed when I go on the verse with ILW recently, strafing doesn't work effectively. It does, but you know what I mean? It's so garbage. You have no control over your fighter ship. Yeah, and I'm talking about fighters, not talking about starfarers or freelancers or any of that jazz, Connies. I'm talking about a Sabre. I'm talking about a Hornet Ghost. I'm talking about even my Warden. And that thing is slow and heavy, but it still used to have a fantastic strafe mechanic to it. Now it's just not existent. So, yeah, this is a major issue, and this is because mouse and keyboard players don't have that fine control over their ship that joystick and even gamepad players to some extent have. So this, bringing up this part here, I'll let ILW go on about his awesome Warthog because I know he's going to be bussing to do this because I've got him muted on the other end at the moment.
Okay, so I actually have a 16,000. So I have that exact same joystick. That's my left-handed joystick. In my right hand is the Warthog. I definitely recommend that stick. Citizen Tech Talk, you spoke many times in the past how they're going towards a mouse and keyboard play style, and that the game is favoring mouse and keyboard more and more. But the Vehicle Experience team has every single control style represented right here in the video. They have the mouse and keyboard. To the right, they have the 16,000. To the left, right under that left screen, they have the Xbox controller. So every way that they want to control the ship in Star Citizen is represented here, which is can only be a good thing.
So, all right, yes, these guys have to have those controllers there because obviously they're going to have to test for all game mechanics. What I'm saying is, in the long run, I just have a sinking feeling it's going to become a very much keyboard and mouse kind of experience, moving away from the Wing Commander experience with the joystick, moving towards the far majority of lazy players. Sorry to say that, guys, but you are lazy players because you're not willing to learn how to play on stick properly. And I believe that you yourselves need to understand the immersity and the scope of what this project's trying to achieve. If you're asking for mouse and keyboard and you're saying, oh, it's really good to play a mouse and keyboard because it saves you buying anything, well, why are you playing Star Citizen? Why'd you spend thousands of dollars on ships if you're not willing to spend a little bit of money on the correct control peripherals? Sorry, but that's just my standpoint. I'm the skeptic, and I don't see why you spend all that money and then cut out short on a joystick. It just doesn't make sense. Anyway, ILW would love to say something else right now. Hang on.
So here's the whole thing. He talked about how the ship maneuvers and how strafe and all that's been has been dumbed down to almost useless. It's very true that the ship handling has been gimped from previous iterations. It's because the new players were coming on and they were absolutely impossible to control the ship. I remember right after Arena Commander released, there was a video and it was, and I never forget the title. It's man struggles to control ship while Chris Roberts stands behind him, smiling approvingly as the ship just flies out of control. So what they need to do is they need to add higher level thrusters, higher level maneuvering thrusters, and have the baseline where it is now, and just add an upgrade to get it back to where it used to be. So all the pilots who enjoy the extreme control over the ship can all get back to that. I think appealing to the lowest common denominator of players, as they're doing now, and the most casual players, that's bad for every single game. They need to appeal to casual players first, but then have it up to a pro level at the highest level. And bring back the way it used to be, bring back the sharp maneuvering, all that with upgrades to the ship, and they definitely need to go that route. Leave it as is so a new player can have a time with the gimbal assist and all that. But at the higher end, have it so your gimbal assist isn't needed, have it so the ship moves like it used to, and bring it back.
All right, so ILW's said he's definite to Bob, and yeah, all I'm going to say is bring back the old flight model and solve all of our problems in one hit. Let's move forward. So, guys, I'm just going to bring us on to the third part of the video now. So,
love that, by the way.
After making an overview video covering some...
okay, I don't want to obviously take away from Digital Foundry's glory in the video he's done. We just both loved that intro part so much, we had to show it to you guys as well. That was so well done. And that was done, I think, with the Inside the Game engine as well, so that's really fantastic work. Unless that is something that CIG's done, I doubt it though. But let's bring you forward to the next important part of what we wanted to talk about in the video.
To get such a huge planet in the game working at all, it first required a different type of engine design than what is typically used in many other games. Asking multiple developers on the game, one of the greatest challenges of getting Star Citizen working in the first place as a massively multiplayer game was due to its scale. In a normal multiplayer game, or single player game even, you have dedicated levels or dedicated open worlds of limited size. As I mentioned in my last Star Citizen video, Star Citizen of course requires a larger scale of magnitude. To enable this, the developers converted the engine to use 64-bit coordinates to enable solar-sized game spaces. But that is not the only thing that is different from the usual. In many games, the player's speed and view is predictable, or able to be designed and planned around, so you have dedicated loading between larger zones, or smaller streaming of smaller world objects as you slowly cruise through it. Star Citizen is a bit different, as you are able to move great distances at great speeds and change your view rapidly, which presents a problem. You can have extremely detailed objects added into the player view really quickly, which made traditional loading and a level style no-go for Star Citizen. Imagine jumping into a planet or entering a space station and suddenly having it load. A loading screen pops up, or even worse, a massive stutter that traditional systems might have. But that would not line up with the game's ambitious designs for being seamless. One way around the dilemma would be to keep the entire game's assets in memory the entire time. The problem is, of course, that the immense size of the individual game assets with all their detail would require impossible amounts of memory for consumer PCs. Since not everyone has hundreds of gigabytes of RAM, the idea of object containers and object container streaming was born. Simply, an object container is any world object large enough to have a number of nested objects within its bounds, or an object with an extensive amount of sub-detail. It could be an entire planet, a space station, a city, or a ship with its insides and outsides. In a traditional game structure, these object containers themselves would be levels, or multiple game levels in their own right, which would require dedicated loading. In Star Citizen, as you move through the 3D game space, this hierarchy of object containers is loading in and out in the background in an efficient, multi-threaded manner to keep slowdowns to a minimum.
Okay, so guys, the object container streaming side of things, we've already discussed that before, and that's been obviously demonstrated as the Lego model to put together in bits and bops, and they connect bits and pieces that they've promised they have never done. The whole bigger picture is, as you can see, so much more complicated and technical than even the actual senior management at CIG had ever planned for. And this is when we went past the original vote. Let's just make the game. No, let's make the bigger game. Yes. 88% compared to the rest said yes. That 88% or 84%, you've created a monster, and it's a monster that we can't get finished. At least if we had agreed to stick to the original model, and the 4% of us, or the 7% of us, I can't remember the numbers, back in the day, just were flipped, and we had 84% or 87% saying, no, don't expand on it right now, give us the game as it is, then we wouldn't be here. We would be in a situation where we'd have already had a game come out in 2016. We would have had Squadron 42 and all this stuff without the stupid mocap stuff and the meshing of the faces and all that super complicated, overcomplicated stuff when they could have used Unreal Engine 4 to do it in a few days, right? To now a situation where we could have had the game Star Citizen as a multiplayer element of Squadron 42 and had free or paid for DLC for the rest of the universe, and they could have made money that way by selling the solar systems separately. Then they could have excused this time delay. Then we would have had something to look forward to, and then CIG would still be making money every 6 months, 12 months. So common sense, that's all I'm saying. I'm going to pass you on to ILW because I'm sure he's got something to say about the matter.
So, I think the game would have been absolutely garbage if they would have continued on the same path. Okay, not garbage as in, oh, it's the worst game I've ever played, but garbage comparative to what it is now. The server object container streaming, how I actually got into this channel is I brought up PlanetSide 2, and they have that exact same system. The room system of object container stream, or object container, is just one room, and when you go into another room, as the population increases, phase out one thing and puts another thing, and you'll see that if you're looking at the room as you back away and enter the other room, you'll see all those other players disappear as the new players load in as you're in a new object container. And that's how they get 500 players in one building, is by doing that. So the tech that this is all built, it's not only for seamless transition, but it's also for higher player counts. I think they should definitely continue on the path that they're going on. I think that, he's saying, oh, it's this many years behind development. I'm starting to think that all these years were dedicated to building the tools to build it, such as Planet Tech version 4, such as server-side overcontainment streaming, such as the Lego, and we've seen them build it live, and we know that they have tools to build these things super quick. So maybe nothing has just been happening for the past few years, and instead what's been happening is all the tools to build all these ships. It's the ship pipeline version 2.0. All these tools to build it all faster has all been brought online, and that's what's been being built. They built the tools first, and now that many of the tools are complete, now we're starting to see big progress. In one update, boom, we got a landing zone with all the moons. And then, what all can be delivered in the next update? As a next update, an entire system with all the landing zones, all the moons, are the tools going to get to that level? I think they're trying to bring the tools to that level. So there was a post on Spectrum talking about, look how long standing is taken. Can we expect the same length for each new system? If the tools are right, we can build the systems faster. Where it used to take 2 years, 3 years to build one system, now it takes 6 months. Now it takes 3 months. Next level technology. That's what Star Citizen is. It's all research and development. It's new technology. It's mind-blowing technology that you've never seen in a game before. That's what Star Citizen represents. And I, for one, am happy for them to continue down that path, and glad that we didn't get some type of Star Wars, a Knights of the Old Republic. You choose another plane, and then your guy goes into space, and then a loading screen, and it loads in another planet. They could have done that. A lot of games do that. They could have done that, but they said, we want seamless takeoff from the planet, fly out. No Man's Sky, they say they do it, but if you actually look at it, it's all cheated. It's all fake. Star Citizen does it for real.
Beautifully said. And and that's the thing. I've never questioned the other tech in Star Citizen or its development or the project itself. The only thing that has been questioned and has been clearly now proven beyond a shadow of a doubt is the server meshing issue itself. Aside from SSOCS, aside from object container streaming, aside from all the tools and the tech and the Lego effect that they have been talking about for so many years now, I hope ILW is right, and this year we just start seeing that Lego building experience happen and things just coming out quickly, because that's what we all want. I'm not writing anything off at this stage. I am disappointed, frustrated, irritated, aggravated that they have taken so long to get to this point, and 8 years, it is 4.5 years technically, as the schedule itself, the actual roadmap itself does state, it is about 4 and a bit years behind as we speak. Talking from a business Gantt chart, professional office standpoint of somebody who'd be a project manager, this project is exceptionally far behind its expected goals and milestone achievements. Pillar Talk was the concept to bring things back in line and back on track. It hasn't done so, and with everything that's gone on with Chris and Sandy, well, we are where we are. ILW, is there anything else you have to say?
Real quick question: if Star Citizen, this is a joke, but I want to ask you this: if Star Citizen implements server meshing exactly how they pitched it, will you name the next episode, or will you name this episode after they do it, CTT BTFO Star Citizen implements server meshing? Will you name the episode that if they do it?
Hell yes, of course it will.
All right, let's continue on.
Okay.
When many things for the first time ever, really, Star Citizen has also made it a priority to render incredibly large volumetric clouds of gas or dust, something not done in games before, actually. Here, artists and designers can create large, swirling, nebulous, or planetary ring-like 3D structures in external programs like Houdini, which are then exported out into the OpenVDB format. The engine then takes this format and represents it as a gigantic and overlapping voxel grid containing information in each voxel controlling things like gas density, emissiveness, color, and a whole host of other parameters. In the game, the gas medium itself is lit and shadowed in real time from the sun or any other light sources placed into it. It usually starts out as a near invisible smattering of color against the blackness of space, and then slowly transforms as light sources are added into it, representing pockets of especially active gas, chemical reactions, or other space phenomena. In doing so, a range of moods can be set by just changing the lighting, such as creating an angry large churning disk of matter around an active star, or the cool loneliness of a space station among the clouds with light flaring in pockets as gas meets. Since it is all done in real time, that means you can fly into it with your ship and watch as the larger structures from the distance become more diffuse as you fly in, until you are completely enveloped by this gas, covering all the space around you. For those areas where designers want even more detail, smaller formations of voxel gas and clouds can be placed into the overarching gas cloud to represent so-called hero details, like the smaller clouds found here around the jump gate. Or they can add in scattered objects into the clouds, like asteroid fields, where even the comparatively minuscule asteroids can cast real-time shadows on the extremely diffuse medium of gas surrounding them. You get these awesome volumetric shadows, essentially. Like a lot of things in Star Citizen, the size of these gas clouds is hard to comprehend when you look at it on a computer screen. It is so large that it can look two-dimensional at normal ship speeds. But its huge 3D real-time nature reveals itself when the camera speed is pumped up to insane levels in the game editor, or when you see lights moving in and around and through it and casting shadows through it. More comprehensible in size, but decidedly more complex in nature, are the game's planets. And here is where we come back to Microtech. The technology making the current planets in the game like Microtech possible is on its 4th iteration and has greatly changed since the video I made on version 3.7 in November.
Okay, Planetech 4 version 4 is great. It works. The weather system that works with it at Microtech and New Babbage is just nuts. It is spectacular and something that no other game developer has ever done. So there is a big blue ribbon for Star Citizen and CIG to actually, their own IP. There's something that they own 100%. That is one piece of tech that they own 100% without question. And what they have done there is exceptional. It is that good. And if you don't agree with me, please pop off the comments to why, because that is something that is visually and physically impressive in relation to the physics on the body when you're walking through the snowstorm. Even though the guy is doing this one, can't see where he's going. We've already covered that in the previous video. But yeah, look, honestly, there's some beautiful, spectacular things they're doing with the CryEngine rewrite, the Franken engine. We are seeing massive improvements over the old CryEngine, but still, I do have to sway towards Unreal Engine 4 still for the graphic fidelity. This, as you can see, this scenery here is very beautiful, but up close, if you look at those leaves on the ground, the flowers, the textural details on the mud in front of you on the ground, Unreal Engine 4 makes it look almost literally real. So, just keep that in mind, guys. These guys are using an engine which is great for back in maybe 2005, not 2020. ILW, you got anything to say on in relation to Planetech or in relation to the gas clouds as well as the physics they've used and the technology they've used for that?
So, I honestly, as he was going through it, my breath was taken away, and you're almost speechless at how vast it is and how amazing it is. And, looking at this scene, it kind of reminds me of way back then in Bethesda when they introduced Skyrim. They say, "Oh, you see that mountain over there? You can climb it." Well, here in Star Citizen, you can walk and climb that mountain, and then get in a spaceship on the other side of the mountain and fly to a completely different planet and get on that planet and climb that mountain. So this is all just next level. Just looking at it, it just takes your breath away. The gas clouds all just takes your breath away, and all the neat, awesome space phenomenon. It's just so you just want to drink it in and just be like, oh my God, this is what we dreamed of. This is what we backed. This is what we dream when Star Citizen was first pitched, and Chris Roberts was on the Kickstarter page, and he was selling us the dream. This is the dream that we bought into. This is it, realized in real time. I'm so excited for the future. Digital Foundry, he makes some really good videos. I would recommend checking out his channel. We might link it in the description. We might not, but search Digital Foundry Star Citizen and look at his. He does a lot of good different videos. This is probably one of his best ones, I think, of the ones that I've watched. It's just all next level, man. It just all takes your breath away. Go ahead, CTT.
Agreed. I remember back in the day, and I'm 41, so, things have changed, obviously, considerably in the time that I first played my first ping and pong machine with the turny dial, with the white control, the black cord that went into the deck thing, or ping, pong, beep, pop, right, to this. Now, I remember Dragon Age, right? Dragon Age 1, Dragon Age 2, Dragon Age 3, blah, 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 and always looking at those sceneries outside of the horse blinker on rails pathway you could only work within that scene, right, to run along, and then it guides you through. Always wanted to be able to just get off those rails and go over that mountain, go over that hill, see what's over the hill. Now you can, and you can do it anytime you want, any way you want. If you want to fly, you want to hopefully we're going to get parachutes or hang gliders and stuff. I'd love that. So for extreme sports, because that's the thing, right? One thing that has been missing is Murray Cup kind of sporting competition. Yeah, the sporting side of the mechanics of gameplay. What about extreme sports? Yeah, so cliff diving, whatever you call it. You got parasailing. You've got also your what do you call it? The triangle floaty thingy, flying thingy. That
hang glider.
Hang glider. There we go. Yes, thanks, RLW in the background. Yeah, hang glider and all of that cool stuff. And you can fly through the rings and do your races and stuff. Your extreme water sports, as well, including having these M50s actually be useful again and use them as the new Red Bull races for around planet-side events and stuff. That needs to come in a big way and expose the beauty of these coastal seaside areas, as well as these mountainous regions with cliff diving, or what do you want to call it, as well as hang gliding and stuff like that, around these beautiful mountaintops. Come on, that are definitely in for the Endeavour experience. Okay, so going on your airliner and going on a holiday, these things need to be part of the game as well, and they're not even being discussed anymore. So guys, keep that in mind, bring that back to your train of thought. If you are literally running a mining company like ILW, and I will be, keep in mind, we're going to want to have a holiday from our game, not our life, because we already try to get enough of those. We don't get enough of those in real life, to then go and have fun in the game, just to have a holiday as such in the game, a second life experience. And go to places like this with our mates and stuff like that, and be able to go to the bars and party on in the game, and be drinking in real life too, probably, and having a wicked old time, and actually be on a proper, guided tour or holiday kind of thing, or go to these extreme sports and actually have some wicked fun. That's been promised to us to happen for tourism side of Star Citizen, and I've not heard anything in an extremely long time about any of that. So keep that in mind, guys. Bring that back to the front of your minds. What happens once you're past doing all your missions for the week and you just want to kind of have fun, and you want to do something crazy like fly a hang glider around some beautiful mountains on a planet, or go cliff diving and risk your very life of your avatar, and abseiling and stuff like that, or cave diving, right? So actually underwater cave diving, or have to abseil halfway down a mountain to get into a cave you can't get into otherwise, to find a great cache spot, for example, for smugglers and pirates. Just saying. So there's all those elements of the game that haven't been even discussed in a very long time. So ILW, I'm going to get your actual perspective on that too, because I think that's really important right now too, to look forward to as well moving forward.
So here's the whole thing. So he's on the planet, and you're kind of like, oh wow, dude, look how gorgeous it is, and it is breathtaking. But here's the whole issue that comes with it. That on the other side of that mountain And for 100 kilometers on the other side, it's absolutely nothing. There needs to be points of interest in that valley, points of interest over there, things to find over there, things to do over there, and a reason for you to be out on the surface. Let's be real. He's only walking on the surface right now to take the video, to take the screenshot, to take pretty pictures, and he will never visit it again because he has no reason to interact with anything in that valley, anything on that mountain, anything 10 kilometers on the other side of the mountain. There has to be more to do than just land on the planet and have this huge, vast map, but it's only good for screenshots. That's kind of where we're at now, and we need to go past that. Go ahead.
Tech demo. And that's what ILW is basically trying to say, but from a pro standpoint, tech demo. We've got a tech demo. A pretty beautiful, artistic tech demo. We need to move past tech demo, guys, and we need to move into actual computer game. I've brought this up multitudes of times before this, and I have said multiple times, JPEG, 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 and tech demo for sale. And this is trying to compete directly with Unreal Engine 4 in this same space. If you watch my Unreal Engine 4 video, why not? And actually take a screenshot of this part of the video behind you now, and then relay that back to Unreal Engine screenshot from my Unreal Engine video, you'll see a very, very polarizing difference between this Witcher 3 looking kind of set compared to the Unreal Engine 4 version of this exactly the same kind of thing. I'll pass on to ILW for one last final wrap up on this, and then we will do our final conclusions for the video.
So, unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, CTT is 100% right that the visual here for the CryEngine, and if you were doing the exact same thing in the Unreal Engine, it's night and day. The Unreal Engine will just completely smoke the CryEngine. Honestly, he showed me a video, and it's one of his previous ones of why, and I recommend you just look at it, if just for the part of where he talks about the CryEngine, of the face tracking in the CryEngine, how beautiful it looks. It looks like a pre-rendered cutscene. You know how they do for E3, and they pre-render the cutscene, and you can't actually interact with any of it. When it showed me the cutscene in the video, and then they went in the editor and the guy was walking around and he picked the things up that we saw in the cutscene, I was like, and it looked so photorealistic. But the issue that I always say with CTT is we've already put all our eggs in the CryEngine basket. We've already hired all these lead developers and these lead producers familiar with the CryEngine. We literally have people from CryEngine, hired multiple people from CryEngine to work on our project. So all the eggs are and this year, what is it, 6 years into development or of active development, I think. Really since like 2015, so maybe like 5 years into real development, all these people know the CryEngine very well, and it would be foolish to switch from an engine that everybody really knows well, all 500 people, to one that they don't. And now everybody has to learn the new engine, so that's the reason that I'm against the Unreal Engine, even though it probably is better for this, and Star Citizen probably should have been built on the Unreal Engine from the start. I agree, but it's too late. All the eggs are in the CryEngine basket. Let's go to final thoughts.
Alrighty, so that was a heck of an episode. How are you feeling after that? I'm feeling a bit brainwashed, a bit brain damaged at the same time. Jeez.
If not from all the from all the technical issues that came with this new setup.
Oh yeah, right. It has been an effort and then some. The technical hurdles we have had to overcome to bring you this as it is. It's no easy thing to do. It is quite a mean feat. Not the depth of technical stuff on the screen, but all the back end stuff that goes into getting these cameras set up properly, getting without having to use a whole computer screen to just show someo's cam and then obviously squeeze that into a box. The NDI, how NDI is still in alpha/beta with Skype, and the workarounds and the latency issues and the things we've had to fix, because I've got Australian internet, guys, and look at this. You got perfect video from him. So, let alone our other scenes, right? So these as well. This is the gaming room for game reviews and stuff, and this is going to be for Around Your Verse. But all of these different scenes had their own challenges. The biggest challenge we have had to date is NDI. We have overcome it, and if once again you are interested in learning how to set up NDI through Skype, if you are looking at doing this on your own YouTube channel or having guests on at least in future, and you want to have this kind of professional look, I hope you guys think it's professional at least, yeah, that we can help you with a separate video for this specifically. But look, wrapping up on the video for today's news, we have covered a lot of stuff, which is some of it's refreshed, some of it's new, some of it is just blatant common sense that has slipped past people. I still believe Sean said not possible, because no one shakes their head and says awesome. That's just common sense. It's body language. But anyway, we're not going to go into argument about that. I believe, yes, that we are achieving those extended boundaries. We are thinking outside of the box. CIG has allowed us to get over that mountain, get into that scenery once and for all. And that is really important. But we need to stop looking at the pretty. We need to start looking at the gritty. What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, and I think they've already said it that their new focus is on gameplay, not on visuals. So I look forward to it. When it all comes down to this, Star Citizen, it's had a very slow lull in development. We wish we could have got more. Maybe we'll start to see more, and we'll start to see all the stuff that we've always dreamed of. Before we get, as I have some few things to get off of Star Citizen and talk about the channel and talk about the upcoming stuff. Do you want to finish anything Star Citizen before I get into that?
Yeah, so just let's wrap up Star Citizen news, and we'll give you guys a bit of just a final wrap up, value add for what's happening in the next couple of weeks coming. So ICTT, you know me.
And I'm Image Lead the Way.
And thank you once again for watching Star Citizen News, 18th of the 2nd, 2020.